Thinker salute. Welcome to another episode of AXIOM TV. I'm your host, Brave Mind, King of the North, also known as Jason B. Sarib. In today's video, I'd like to talk about a narrative that has been troubling me ever since I was sophisticated enough to question what the intelligentsia was promoting throughout society. And that narrative is complexity. Now, there is no such thing as complexity. It's all actually quite simple. If we discount the agnostic perspective that some answers are beyond the scope of the human mind, or even our best standard for ascertaining truth, or even beyond our best standard for ascertaining truth, which is science, which I regard such a claim as a cry out for help or cerebral laziness. And if we also keep in mind the human tendency to overcomplicate matters, allow me to articulate the neutrally relative truth that I've come to realize. Nothing's actually complex. It only seems that way to our biased perspectives as human beings. If we remove our partiality out of the equation, then you come to realize that everything is actually different scales / fractals of simplicity, including ourselves. What I mean by that is our minds and its capabilities are just in between the different levels of extreme simplicities. Therefore, we perceive higher renditions as complex, while lower ones we perceive as simple. This renders everything just tiers of understanding. The more complex something appears to you, the less comprehension you've achieved to properly interpret it, and vice versa. For example, to a newborn, everything it encounters seems complex and elaborate because it's its first time confronting these things, or these things confronting it. As that child grows and it gains an understanding, much of what it previously considered as intricate becomes relegated to basic due to becoming more comfortable with it and gaining knowledge of that object or thing, idea, etc. This development usually stunts as adults at a point where we know enough, where we believe we know enough to survive and function socially, even though there is still much for us to learn that is beyond survival and social interaction. The fact is, life is a learning process, and each of us is a work in progress or an abandoned, work-halted construction site. We're learning on the job. We each develop in the world this way. Since the beginning of human life, this has been the case. Now, what this means is that what all we come to understand is that all we've come to understand and can possibly, as well as possibly understand, was and is never actually complex per se. Our perspective and our ignorance of each particular thing made or makes it appear that way or seem that way. Put aside that once we gain a thorough understanding of these things, that we then regard them as rudimentary. Objectively, what is revealed is that everything we encounter is capable of being understood, including uncertainty or random. This renders everything as simultaneously simple and complex. That assessment would still be from our subjective perspective, but at a fundamental level, since they are all able to be understood, ultimately, everything is actually simple, just differing in degrees and variations of it. I hope I spell that out simply. Subscribe if you are already subscribed to our channel, AXIOM TV. This is the Thinkers channel, and since what qualifies us as human beings is our ability to think at a level that is starkly different than the other creatures of the earth or the other mortal life that we know of, which is only found on earth. This is our channel, and the only channel that is defying conventional thinking, evoking E.E. Cummings and his cry or his mandate for us to dismantle the orthodox thinking of our time. And keep in mind, it's very rare that any genius is appreciated during their time. This renders that most of human society at any present generation is actually unqualified to be the arbiter of genius. Also, hit the bell icon so that you can receive notifications of future postings. Thank you. Thinker salute. Keep thinking for yourself. Think objectively, the neutrally relative capability that nature endowed us with, and see what answers you come to. See what thoughts end up flourishing within your mind. Thank you.